Yeah. I turned on the light to wake up my husband, and it's really, really bad.
What's really bad?
My husband.
Did he shoot himself?
No.
Where's your husband at?
No, lay down, miss. Lay down. I'm so sorry, listen.
Where's your husband at?
He's in our room. He was laying next to me.
Okay, is he awake?
No, he's dead.
February 21st, 2008. A day that would forever change the Oxley family. What was once a happy home would soon become the site of a tragic crime that would leave a family broken, a young girl traumatized, and a mystery that seemed unsolvable. In the midst of the turmoil, one voice, the smallest, most innocent, would uncover a truth no one could have anticipated. Today, we dive deep into the chilling case of Ben Oxley's murder, a case that would take years to unravel, filled with twists, secrets, and betrayals. At the heart of it all, a 6-year-old girl, Alyssa Oxley, who witnessed something crucial that would eventually bring the truth to light. But what happened that fateful night? And who was responsible for Ben's death? Let's begin. Ben Oxley was a man rebuilding his life. In 2004, after a painful divorce, he was a single father to his daughter, Alyssa. The years of fighting with his ex-wife had taken their toll, but Ben was determined to make a fresh start. That fresh start came when he met Melissa, a woman who would not only become his wife, but also Alyssa's stepmother. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was a story of hope and second chances. In 2006, Ben and Melissa tied the knot, and by 2008, they were living in a peaceful home in Nevada. Alyssa, who had been caught in the middle of a bitter custody battle between Ben and her mother, Dawn, was finally settling into a stable environment. Ben and Melissa were raising her as their own, and the future seemed bright. They had even won full custody of Alyssa, ending the turbulent custody arrangements with Dawn. However, this tranquility would soon be shattered. On the night of February 21st, 2008, Melissa woke up to an unimaginable nightmare. She was in bed with her husband, Ben, when she found him cold and lifeless, blood covering his body. The shock was overwhelming, and the horror of that moment would change the course of her life, and Alyssa's forever. The 911 call came in just after midnight. Melissa, in a panic, told the dispatcher that her husband was dead, shot in the back of the head while they were both sleeping in bed. She mentioned that she believed an intruder was still in the house, but when police arrived, there were no signs of forced entry. Nothing was stolen. The scene was eerily calm, and yet the violence of the crime was apparent. The camera shows reenacted footage of Melissa speaking to the police, looking distraught as she points to the bedroom. Police found Ben's body in the master bedroom. A shotgun wound to the back of his skull was immediately apparent. There were no signs of struggle. No weapon was found nearby, but there was something else that stood out: Melissa's strange behavior. She was the only one in the house who could have known what happened, yet her story seemed incomplete. She claimed to have fallen asleep next to Ben, but saw nothing when the shot was fired. Suspicion quickly turned to Melissa. Her sudden financial gain from Ben's death, $400,000 from his life insurance policy, raised eyebrows. She denied knowing about the policy, but the investigators didn't fully believe her. Melissa became the prime suspect, and the police began to question her every move. Was it possible that Melissa killed her husband for the money, or was there something else going on? Alyssa was just 6 years old. At that age, children are not typically seen as key witnesses in a murder investigation. But what Alyssa knew would soon change everything. During her questioning by the police, Alyssa revealed something that no one had expected. She had been awake that night. Despite the police believing she was asleep, Alyssa's memory of that night was clear. She had seen something, someone, standing outside her bedroom door just moments before the gunshot rang out.
I woke up and heard this creak at the front door. I heard it and I just looked out and I saw someone walking in.
Do you know who they were?
I don't know who it was.
Alyssa didn't recognize the figure, and she couldn't remember any details that could identify them, but she knew that the person wasn't supposed to be there. This revelation would send the investigation down an entirely new path. The focus shifted. If Alyssa wasn't asleep, it meant that the killer wasn't someone inside the immediate family. At least, not the people the police had been focusing on. The spotlight moved to Alyssa's birth mother, Dawn, and her boyfriend, James Matlin. Dawn had a history of criminal behavior, addiction, petty crime, and a volatile relationship with Ben, which made her a prime suspect. But there was no direct evidence linking her to Ben's death. Dawn's alibi was shaky. She had been drinking that night, and her relationship with Ben was far from cordial. But when the police dug deeper, they found more than just a troubled ex-wife. They found a motive. The investigation took another shocking turn when Dawn's own son, Devin, came forward. The teenager testified that his mother had been planning Ben's murder for months. He claimed that Dawn had been angry about losing custody of Alyssa and wanted to get back at Ben. But it wasn't just Dawn. James Matlin, her boyfriend, had also been involved in the plot. James, who had a criminal history of his own, initially denied any involvement. But when confronted with the overwhelming evidence, he broke down. James confessed that he had helped Dawn execute the plan to kill Ben, but he had never intended to be the one to pull the trigger. He was merely the accomplice. And when James spilled the truth, the pieces of the puzzle finally fit together. Dawn and James were arrested, but the case wasn't over yet. As part of a plea deal, Dawn was granted immunity in exchange for testifying against James. She confessed to orchestrating the murder and betraying the man who had been a father figure to her daughter. James Matlin was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dawn, granted immunity, walked free, but she would never regain her daughter's trust. The trial had concluded, but for Alyssa, the healing was just beginning. The young girl who had witnessed so much pain and loss was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. Her father was gone. Her mother, Dawn, was a convicted murderer, and the family she had known was forever changed. But despite everything, Alyssa found a new sense of stability.
I decided to forgive him and that I wanted him to have hope.
She was welcomed into a new, unconventional family. The story of Alyssa Oxley is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, truth has a way of emerging. It's a story about family, resilience, and the unyielding strength of a child who refused to let the truth be buried. Alyssa's courage in the face of such unspeakable tragedy is a testament to the power of the human spirit. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this story moving, please consider subscribing to the Crime Tales for more deep dives into real-life mysteries, heart-wrenching tragedies, and incredible tales of survival. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, take care of yourselves and those around you. Until next time, stay safe.